Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard of streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And obviously you can't have Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hello.
That's my favorite thing right now. Hello. I mean,
It's
I used to say it before, but it's not in. It's like so old, but I just like said it one day as I told you, and I've just said it now.
Well, that would be if like you're coming out, cutting your promo in the ring, you walk in, then the crowd gets a little quiet, then you're like, hello. And then that's when
that's me. I come out to Jillian's song, and then I get on the mic and I'm like, hello. I posted, someone was like, it was one of those wrestling Twitters, and they were like, what would your theme music be if you were a wrestler? And I posted my the video of Jillian, and no one responded, and I was really upset.
That is rude.
I know. I was like, you guys don't understand quality. You guys don't understand star power.
No, they don't. They do not understand star power.
They don't.
I still am gonna go with Bagpipes version of Shipping Up to Boston. My little mix I made. Oh, for the Gillette is that intro, you've heard it. Oh my god! If anyone hit me on Twitter at @Pat_Pitts if you want the link to that, because that's a whole SoundCloud mix. Sarah, I'm not kidding you. Once you listen to the entire thing, you're going to want to run through a brick wall
and be like, "Hey!"
Was vomit. So Raw was great, honestly. I thought it was. When I say great, I mean it just reminded me. No,
when I say great, I mean the opposite of
not
great.
like the opposite, but great in the sense of big picture. Like it's shades of the Attitude Era style. It's coming back. Like it's not so cookie cutter. You're getting the high talent main eventers that should be in there. And you're getting Cody, like matchups like Cody Rhodes with Finn Balor. You're getting these guys off. I don't know. I thought it was really good. And it did a lot to push stuff forward and get you interested for next week. That's what I'm excited for, which we'll dive into. What were your initial thoughts?
I didn't realize. I don't think I realized that there wasn't another pay-per-view in August. And I'm so used to SummerSlam being late, like in the middle to later in August, that I was like, why is Raw and SmackDown like this? But now it makes more sense to me that it's like every week isn't that great. It's because they need to fill the time because there isn't another show for 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. It is what it is. I think there were some really good moments. I think, and that's the thing is like, I can't complain about the show in its entirety if there were a few things that I was like, oh, that was good, because it's kind of once in a blue moon when you can have a show that feels that way the entire 3 hours. And I feel like when you get into that mentality of expecting that every single week, then you're always going to be disappointed. So you have to just be happy about a couple things. And I think that's fine, because it's better to have a couple things that you're happy about than being like the entire show sucked.
Would you agree that you're more excited for the next week's episode over the past year than you were, say, a year and a half, 2 years ago when Vince was still in control? Do you see a difference in the flow of the show?
Yeah. Well, and I think, there's some stuff that I'm not like super into right now. But yeah, I am, especially when it comes to Raw, I am interested to be like, okay, what's going to happen with the Judgment Day? What is Cody doing? What's Seth doing? What's Gunther doing? Like, is LA Knight going to be on Raw? Like, there are things that are more exciting. And I think that's what's nice about the draft is you can kind of know who to expect to be seeing on the show, and then you can kind of focus on like, okay, so there's going to be these people and this storyline continuing. Whereas when they're not solid rosters, it could be anybody for anything at any time doing whatever. Like it makes it a little bit more difficult, I think, to get excited about, because you have no idea what is going to happen. Plus, I think the announcing of matches like a week in advance is kind of a good idea too, because we knew at least 2 of the matches or something that was going to happen on Raw, so it was nice. It was like, okay, you have those to look forward to, as opposed to going into it completely blind. I think that's a nice added thing that they've done recently too.
I'd agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. So let's stop being around the bush. Let's get right into our first segment here, Sarah. Take us away.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we say hello.
That's what I was gonna do.
Yes, hello, David. Hello, Richard. Hello, Fro. Hello, David. How's it going, y'all?
It's popping our peeps.
All right,
let's get peeps. Yes, I did want to say that, and we'll get to all the So
Sami Zayn started off the show, which was a nice change, but very expected because they were in Canada, in the French-speaking part of Canada, hence why they were loving them some Sami Zayn.
Loving Sami Zayn.
Yeah, those are always really cool moments, I think, because it's not often that there is a wrestler that can stand in the ring for nearly 10 minutes and not say a word, and the entire crowd is going crazy the entire time.
Crazy.
Like, it's not something that you see really anymore. So Sami is one of those guys that does this, because it was just 6 months ago when they were in Montreal where he got basically the exact same thing 2 nights in a row for SmackDown and Elimination Chamber. So that's what I think made this more interesting. Is I understand this was Quebec City, and I don't know how far away it is from Montreal, but
I don't know either. Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago that some of these people might have been at the Montreal show, which just speaks volumes, I feel like, to the impact that Sami has made, because this isn't, like Edge in Toronto last week. It was like they hadn't seen him in years. It was like, this was 6 months ago.
So to me, when I see that, like, it shows how incredible Sami Zayn is and how it's okay that they didn't put the belt on him.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see that he's getting that genuine pop and they're actually excited for him and cheering in his native tongue. All those little things building up so that maybe one day when the whole Bloodline saga finishes and we can start with a new chapter of WWE, I really could see them legitimately putting the belt on Sami, because he's getting it in his hometown. He's getting it kind of everywhere, just to a lesser extent. It's really nice to see that. It's really awesome to see little shit like that happen.
Yeah. So once he was finally able to actually speak, because he did welcome them in French, the Judgment Day come out and they surround the ring, and it's like, oh, okay, so we're still going with this. Okay, Remy, I swear, she just wants to ruin my life today.
She just wants to be part of the show. Really.
Yeah, every single week. So once they surround the ring, Sami is questioning, like, oh, so what do you think? Like, you really thought that I was going to come here and I was going to be alone? And so, I mean, you kind of knew that Kevin was going to be returning. He did just return at the house show over the weekend, but it had been 5 weeks or so since he had been on Raw. So we do get the Kevin Owens return, and of course the crowd went completely hammered for him as well. Yeah.
Berserk.
And they brawl, they take out the Judgment Day. So this basically was just an opening segment that set up the main event for the night, which is something that they've been doing a lot recently, which I think that does play into what you said earlier about it being kind of an Attitude Era
old school
aspect, because that is something that happened a lot back then, and it seems like they're definitely getting into that because I don't know how many weeks in a row the opening segment led to whatever the main event ended up being.
It did.
So we'll revisit that in a little bit, but that
Do
was
you
a
like
much
that? I don't want to cut you, but I'm kind of interested. Do you like that element of the show where you don't know what you don't know what the main event is going into the show, but then right off the bat, first match or first segment?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it, but I don't want it to become like the predictability factor going up every single week. Like I don't want to expect every single Raw that whatever happens first is going to indicate what happens in the main event. Especially when this is something that we're talking about it before we started recording. This is a storyline that's been going on kind of, and it was just kind of randomly put together, and we just keep seeing it over and over and over again. So I'm just like, I'm not as invested in it. But if it was maybe something that was a little bit more interesting, then I might not mind as much. But I just get nervous about the predictability factor becoming an issue because it's not always great to know basically what they're going to do before they do it,
Oh, agreed. I agree with that. The only thing I will add is that I like the fact that it feels like it's kicking the show off. I kind of relate it back to like television or movies where it sets up the plot premise of the show. So you're not, so it keeps you focused in that you're not, oh, what's going on? Oh, that's the main event now. Or, oh, it's this. Like, and the way that they connect it throughout the show where it's not just opening segment, main event, that's it. They sprinkle in some backstage stuff to get you hyped up and play into that. For instance, Kevin Owens saying that they will face any two of them. And then you go backstage and it's them saying, well, who the two of us gonna be?
Yeah.
And then it's another backstage segment of Rhea being like, oh my god, no one's got it. It's I'm finally figuring this out. I'm gonna be the problem solver. And then she to enter it, saw it's just little stuff like that makes it worth watching and gives it that attitude or feel that I feel that a lot of people glimpse over with the attitude. It's not just all like the brash and the edgy stuff. There were some very good examples of good story or writing or connecting stuff within a show. That's what you need to bring back from the attitude or not the edginess.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the first match of the night ended up being Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle versus the New Day to determine the number one contenders, I guess, for the Unified Tag Team Championships. The New Day win. Obviously, I think anybody with a brain probably knew that was going to happen, which I still am kind of like, it's whatever. But it's just funny, like we said last week, that these two teams were fighting over who was the number one contender when like Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre literally just did one match as a tag team and the New Day just came back. Like, it's like, how are you guys the number one contender? But all right.
It's in shambles, Sarah. The division is in shambles and the New Day need to come back to save it.
Apparently. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about, but sure, we can believe that. That's fine. So one part that was very interesting in the match, because there were people who were trying to look for little Easter eggs last week about maybe Drew McIntyre getting sick of Matt Riddle, where I mean, like, can you really blame him? I mean, really?
I'm gonna let you just introduce this. You can give your piece, and I actually have a little bit to say about Matt Riddle this week.
All right. So we see a moment in the match where Drew looked like he was, I don't know, fed up with Riddle maybe, and he decided to throw him over the top rope, and you were like, oh no, it's happening now. But it was like, no, LOL, just kidding. I knew that these guys were behind me on the floor, and that was why I threw Riddle, because then he could just like land on them. And it was like, okay, I did like that.
I really like that.
It really did trick you, and so you're like, oh, all right. But we got further hints at a heel turn, possibly. We see Drew and Riddle talking backstage after their match. Drew looking very good, by the way, in his basketball shorts. Like, Okay. And we
A lot of hair in
see
that chest.
yeah, and
Lot
we
of hair.
see Riddle kind of trying to convince him to like, don't give up on us, bro. I'm like, of course, because you have nothing better to do. Instead, you're like, I don't want to look for another partner yet. Who else is going to be my
Randy's not
partner?
back.
Who?
Randy's
Oh,
not
Randy.
back. I'm missing my buddy Randy.
And then we see Drew being like, I don't know that this is gonna work out, so I think we're just gonna like pump the brakes, end it here. And Riddle is still just like, and then the New Day is like, oh, no, don't give up yet. You guys have been working really well together, and it feels like you guys are just doing something great. And I immediately 1000%, you could tell Kofi was doing it to piss off Drew, and I loved it because after he was like, you've got something going, he has that like cheesy smile.
Oh,
And he's like,
he cracked a smile. He
Yeah.
cracked a smile.
yeah. They also suggest the name McRiddle, which I think
that's when you knew it was a joke.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned that last week because people were saying that on Twitter.
Think you did say that.
Yeah. And Drew is just kind of like not into it. Obviously, I don't blame the man whatsoever, but Riddle's like, yeah, and I'm just like, I can't with this man. And then the New Day is like, all right, well, once you guys are done with the Viking Raiders, since it appears you still got issues there too, we will gladly have another match with you. So I think that we did get hints of a heel turn, but I have to ask,
Paper covers rock.
Is it really considered turning heel when it would be on Matt Riddle? If we're being honest,
it's turning heel for documentation. That's basically what it is. Is that you're just turning heel for the internal sheet that says that Drew McIntyre is a heel in this show. Are you a heel in the fans' eyes? No, you are not. You are the hero.
That's what I mean, because I'm like, if he turns on Matt Riddle, is it really gonna upset people to be like, I hate Drew?
No, I'd go crazy.
I would be like, thank you. Excitement. Finally, somebody did it. You didn't even get somebody.
Did you get my? I was trying to do it, but you didn't mention it. But when this moment I knew had to have sent you into another planet or dimension, is when they're like, hey, good job. And they're like, all the knuckles, like fist bump, all that. And he just goes, paper covers rock. Because I even was like, oh, no. That was so bad. But if it was intentionally that bad, it was fucking brilliant.
Do you ever wonder if he's really playing a character? Or if this is just him?
I think the stuff like paper covers rock, that's a character. But in the grand scheme of things, no. I think that what you see with Matt Riddle at this point is what you get. And the only way to elevate him into, I would say, at least a better version of what he's portraying on TV is to make him like a kick-ass, no nonsense. He may be the bro and whatnot, but he's got like a chip on his shoulder edge. And we just don't see that. They're not going that direction. What if the only thing I could say is what if he turned on Drew because he finally is like, I could see it. You were thinking I'm this stupid idiot and I'm not. I'm a tough guy. Like he could go that route, but I don't see them doing that. So at this point, I don't really have any care for Riddle.
Well, and that's what I was saying over the last couple weeks. I don't think it would be a bad idea, but I don't think they'll do it because I don't think it would work. You can't take him seriously as a bad guy. Like, it's because of how he talks. He talks so slow, and he's always just like, yeah, bro, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's just like, I don't know that anybody would ever if he turned heel on Drew, is Drew supposed to be scared of him? When he's like, I'm going to kick your ass, bro. It sounds like a drunk guy in the Jersey Shore. Like, I just don't know that it'll work. I feel like at this point, we know that he is perfectly capable in the ring and putting on an entertaining match, even though I'm not fond of him.
It's good. No, it's a good match. Yeah,
but I think that he almost needs to just embrace the fact that you're kind of boxed in to a comedic character. Like, I just don't know that they're going to ever be able to get him out of that. I just don't. I mean, it's possible, I guess. Of course, anything can change, but like, I just don't know. It's not a character that I said would do well moving from NXT to the main roster. I always said that. The NXT crowd is a lot different. It's just like with Wendy Chu. Chick wrestles in footed pajamas. That shit ain't working up on Raw and SmackDown. So it's like that works in NXT because certain things do work in NXT, but it doesn't when you move it up. It's just like something works in WWE that's not going to work in AEW.
Exactly.
But I think with Matt Riddle, it's not worked well. Like the RK Bro thing worked well because
With
they
Brian,
went
yeah.
very full into the bro thing, you know? And then it was legitimized because of Randy Orton. So I
Pretty
just
good
don't
name
know.
on it.
Huh?
No, pretty good name to have labeled on that arcade, bro.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And I think that's why people liked it. It was because it wasn't just some other random dude that they hadn't seen or hadn't been familiar with. It was Randy Orton. And it was very out of character for Randy to be like silly and laughing and like doing that kind of stuff. So I think that's why people enjoyed it. But yeah, I think if anything, I don't know. I would love to see Drew turn heel, but I would like to see what that would look like because he hasn't been a heel since he came back to WWE, right?
Yeah, he has.
He has?
Oh yeah, with Ziggler and
see, that's probably when I wasn't watching.
Yeah, no, he was a really good heel when he teamed with Ziggler first, and then he came back and feuded with Roman at Mania, and he had the long hair with like it was wet.
Oh, right, yeah.
Dark.
That was early when he came back. Yeah,
that was early, and that was really good. Now it's time to do that with this
him versus Cody.
That would be a really good feud. That'd be a really good feud.
Yeah. I would love that. I think that they need to. I love Drew, and I think he seems like a really nice guy, obviously, but I do think that they need to do something with him because they haven't. I mean, they haven't done anything with him since Mania, but even leading up to Mania, they didn't do anything with him. It was just like, oh, there's Drew McIntyre. He's got his sword and kilt. It's like, okay. But basically it was just he was just Drew McIntyre. There was really no direction for him other than the like on again, off again feud with Sheamus. But even then, it's like that's not deep, you know, that's not like character development. Yeah. So I think that it would be the right move to turn him, but he has to have like a really good opponent to do that. And I feel like Cody could be a good one. Imagine Cody versus Drew.
Cody would be a really good feud to have for a few months to get him ready, you know, especially coming after expected at this point heel turn to Riddle. Cody could be the super baby face and say, what are you doing, man? This dude just want to be your friend and all this. And I that's what super baby face Cody would do.
I know.
Is this man just wants to be your friend, and you guys had a good thing going, and you're, you know, turning your back on him just like you're turning your back on the WWE universe. There's so many ways you can go. I just thought of in my head.
Yeah.
I should maybe book my own wrestling show.
I guess we shall see. Wait, who got Drew McIntyre?
I have the roster right here.
Did I get it?
Right here.
I think I requested. Yeah. Okay.
You have Drew.
Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure I remember that I requested some and then you immediately shot them down, so I couldn't remember if that was one of them.
I mean, you're not taking LA Knight from me. I'm sorry. I mean,
it's fine.
You took Cody.
I didn't take Cody. You gave me Cody.
Because I knew you would say something about LA Knight. All right.
All right, whatever. So moving on. I can't wait for
that to be flourished so the peeps can actually see what we're talking about. Yeah, Judgment Day. Let's talk about it.
So the issues between the Judgment Day continue. So it looked all peachy at the beginning because, you know, they all came out together and they surrounded the ring for Sami Zayn. It was like, okay, things are looking okay. I mean, at least they all came out together, I guess. And then we see JD McDonough and Finn are being interviewed. And JD is talking about how he's known Finn his whole life and he only is there so that he can help make the Judgment Day stronger. And I was like, the way he was looking at Jackie also, I was like, Can you look at me like that? I'm just asking, JD. I was
Can you like look my way with
like,
those
can you,
eyes?
yeah,
Like
can
what?
you like, can you look at me like that as I'm standing next to you? That would be great. And then Finn points out that, hey, don't forget, JD helped us last week. He helped take out Cody and Sammy. And it's like, yeah, see, give him those points because he deserves it. Then Rhea and Dom come out to take Finn away to discuss Judgment Day matters. And Rhea's like, stand back, little boy. Stand back, little boy. You can't come. You are not part of the Judgment Day. And it was like, oh, okay. So later we see that Rhea is talking to Damian Priest because, you know, they said at the beginning that it would be 2 members of the Judgment Day versus Sammy and KO. And it was presumably going to be Finn and Priest, as they are the stronger 2 of the men, I guess, of the trio of men.
Well, then
And
there's Dom. That's just
yeah.
that's the.
Yeah, that's why it's like even Rhea knows that Dom shouldn't be in the match, so that's why she's
I think
like,
that's
no.
why she was put. Because if you look at the backstage or watch it back, and they're saying it should be me and Dom, and then Damien's like it should be Senior Money in the Bank and the North American Champion. Dom, what do you think? That man did not want to be in that match.
He was just
at
like,
all, and
yeah.
he's like, "Can you guys just do it? Like, you guys are the.
I need the day off.
I have a match tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we gotta prepare. Mommy and I gotta do our thing." Did you see her shirt?
Monday Night Mommy. I know.
If I was not a man, I would probably get that. I can't
Monday Night Poppy. There you go.
That. I'm your Poppy. I need that shirt. Okay,
yeah.
Continue.
All right. So Rhea is talking to Damian, and Damian's like, I'm not going to be tag teaming with Finn. He's not even talking to me. I can't get through to him. And Rhea just sets him straight. And he was like, you know what? You say that you don't think that he trusts you. I don't think you trust him very much either. And he was like, do you blame me?
Do you blame me?
Because he's all like,
I loved Damian.
And so Rhea, of course, is still just like, okay, you guys need to work this out. And Priest is like, no, I'm not interested. And Rhea's like, all right, well, we're going to do things my way now. And I was like, girl, queen, take control. Power. I know they listen to mommy. They know.
I mean, when a girl tells you what to do, you don't really say no. So.
All right. Then we get into Chad Gable versus
Gunther. Oh, hold on. Do we have any comments about that? No,
I haven't
not
seen any. Yeah, I haven't seen any. They're not very
nothing right now about that. Okay, because we did have one that I've seen.
Okay.
About this match, so let's introduce it first.
All right. So before the match, we saw Gunther, and I thought he had a really great video promo. I loved the lighting, that it was like his entrance. And I'm just obsessed with Gunther. So there's really nothing that this man could do that makes me mad. And so I just loved it. And I liked, like I said, I just liked everything about it. And I like that they're really pushing him, which I like because they're doing a lot more than SmackDown did.
Yes,
so I love that. More. Yeah. So Gable is interviewed before his entrance, but it basically just becomes like a love fest between Maxine and Otis, talking about how much Gable means to them and how he's been preparing for this match for so long. And he's been so influential to me in my career. Oh my God. So that's basically what it was. It almost looked like Gable didn't know that it was going to happen. That was kind of like how it looked in a way. Like he kind of looked a little like, oh, okay. Yeah, talk nice about me. That's kind of how I don't know. Talk nice to me. But I don't really have a whole lot to say. I mean, I do have a whole lot to say, but not a whole lot to say about the match in general.
I thought it was fantastic. It was a great match. God, it was so hard hitting.
Shout out to Jason Jordan who produced this match. Yes, it was a very physical match. It went outside of the ring. And it ended controversially as Gable did win via countout, but he did not win the championship despite the fact that he was acting like he did and the crowd was acting like he did. And Gunther was pissed. So, we can talk about it.
Agree to disagree.
I'll decide how much I actually want to talk about it. But was
Oh.
this the right move? Was it right for Gunther to lose his winning streak?
Okay. It's not right that he. Okay, let me back up here because I'm trying to formulate this in a cohesive sentence.
I kind of feel like I know what you're going to say.
If there was a time to do what they did, it was with Chad Gable because of how organically he's got over with the crowd. So obviously you cannot just take off the title or take the title off of Gunther for a cheap pop. That just ruins so much of what you've already built up already. And you need to give Chad Gable that underdog mentality, like underdog story of clawing his way. It's been 10 years and he finally is getting this opportunity. And he's going up against the big bad beast in Gunther, who literally chops his way through everyone in his path. Gunther's going to break that record. There's no doubt about that. I think anyone with a brain, a wrestling brain, excuse me, would get that. But you need to give the fans in Montreal or where they are a feel good moment. And what it does is it actually extends this feud for a little bit, because he got one over on him. He got one over on him in the 5-minute challenge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then he uses his smarts and he throws him outside the ring, gets back in, and he gets one over on him there. Now that's gonna build it up to maybe a pay-per-view match, maybe just a big Raw main event keyword.
I think it'll be a Payback, but
Yeah. And the stipulation will be no rules. That's what's missing.
no count outs.
No count out. Exactly. Yeah. So every little rule that I will say has constricted Gunther is out the window, because if you watch the match, that man is being brutalized. Those chops hurt me.
I know.
Oh my Lord. There was one video I saw. There was, two moments. One video of a fan took outside the ring, and Chad Gable goes back like a rubber band.
Mm-hmm.
It was, oh my Lord, it hurt. And then the spot where Gable's coming down from the top and he hits him with a chop, that had to hurt. Like, that was just so well done, but that just hurt. And that's the brutality that Gunther needs to take his game to then get him into that main event spot and go up. And why not do with a guy like Gable? Because it says, okay, I don't need, these rules. It doesn't matter. I can win. And that's I'm rambling here, but that's what it essentially it's doing is it's just extending that feud, and it's all those building so that you can say, no, Gunther is superior and that he is going to be this long Intercontinental Champion, whatever. For honestly, I think it legitimately could go to Mania. I think that's what they're trying to do.
That's what I'm worried about. I want it to, but I don't want to be at Mania and see him lose. That's the problem.
I'm not.
I feel it would.
But
yeah, I want him to have a match at Mania if he's still Intercontinental Champion, obviously. But I would love for him to win at Mania and then lose at like a different pay-per-view. Like, if you're gonna take it off him, don't take it off him at Mania. Especially if that's gonna be the show that we see Roman get dethroned. Like, don't have it both on the same show.
Yeah.
They probably would do it because it'd be like, oh my God, this is the show that all the fans got something. Ugh. Anyway, except for me when I'm sitting there booing the babyface, is like, ugh. Anyway,
you're gonna be a joy around the fans, around us.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, I got into a screaming match with 7-year-olds about Roman Reigns. So
what's funny though is like I'm so all over the place because I'm like, I love Cody, but then I'm like, Gunther, like
to chop me.
It's just chop me, Gunther. But anyway, I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel. Like, I'm pissed off because I just don't think that it was necessary to do that. And obviously it's not as bad as if he was pinned, because obviously that holds a lot more meaning than a count out. But I know that it kind of needed to be done because so many people have complained. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Triple H doesn't give a fuck if people are complaining online, but people just assume that every single match that Gunther is going to have, that he's going to come out victorious and that the person doesn't have any chance. And so this kind of equals that. What is that noise?
Sorry, that was my foot.
Oh, okay. This kind of like equals the playing field a little bit. Like, I mean, it's 70-30 now. I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but I would say it's 70-30 in Gunther's favor, whereas it might have been 90-10 before, you know?
Yeah.
But this makes him look, as I said to you, it makes him not look immortal. And I think that they're kind of just trying to cater to the audience in that way, to be like, okay, well, maybe Gunther does have a chance to lose. I don't know that I particularly love it, but I mean, it is what it is. As long as he doesn't lose the title before the reign, / I don't want him to also break the record and then like lose it not long afterwards. Like that would be so irritating too.
Oh no, it needs to be a dominant break of the reign. Like I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but if it's 500, he needs to be like 750.
Yeah. So we do see later that he takes out his frustration on Kaiser and little Vinci. And Kaiser says that he's going to make things right as he's like walking away. And he says to Vinci, like, what are you going to do?
That was so funny.
And I was like, that was rude. And so we later see that what Kaiser meant is that he will be having a match against Gable next week on Raw. So that leaves me to, what does this mean for Vinci? What is Vinci going to do? Is he going to come in and just brutalize him? Is he going to help make sure Kaiser wins? Like how does Vinci get involved and show that he is loyal to the Ring General?
He may help Kaiser. That's all I can see. Maybe take out Otis in the back before the match.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? I would love it.
Like a chair to the back.
Take out that caterpillar. Take him out. Take out that T-Rex man arm, man. Take him out, Vinci. Let me see you, Vinci. Put on your little trunks. Let me see. Let me just see something.
Yeah, keep going. I'm doing. You good?
Yeah, Vinci, I need to see something. Just put your trunks on and then come see me.
Get ready for a ring. Come on.
Yeah, I just need to see. I just need to see it.
I just don't know what's going on with him, and it's not in the fact that I don't want to see anything go on. I do. It's the complete opposite. I want to see Vinci get involved in some sort of substance and not just
speak.
The third. Yeah, like I would like to see.
He didn't even say anything to Kaiser.
I don't think he had the chance. He walked away.
But still, he could have just been like, oh, like at least if we heard like something come out of his mouth, like, it's like, oh, he can speak. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
It sucks. Like I would like, because I just want to see Ludwig and Vinci dominate the tag division. That's just really all I want. And Vinci's such a key part of that.
I know.
And you can't, and it's just, there's nothing that's making me interested in Vinci other than your love for him. So I am here
really to keep him afloat.
You're here to, and I'm trying to get behind him, and
I'm gonna find his best NXT matches and I'll send them to you.
Yeah, I would actually like to see this because I know really not a lot about Vinci. And
because you didn't even know. You didn't even know about him like smiling and like to the camera and they like
no, I know none of that. So that's why I don't want to say anything of what they should do with him because I don't know what he can do. I don't know where his ceiling is. A lot of guys that gals that I've already watched, I can kind of give at least a little bit of an idea of where their ceiling is and where they would fit best on the main roster. With Vinci, right now it's only as Imperium, but what can he do in I say singles role, I mean speaking role.
Yeah.
Like why can't we get him more airtime and he has some sort of speaking piece in the backstage segment? I don't know.
I'm just confused in general. I don't really understand the whole point of basically making him mute and making him look like he can't do anything. that he's like inept in the ring, and he's very clearly not. There, like I've said a million times, there's a reason why they made sure to bring him over from NXT UK, because they didn't have to. There's plenty of people that were in NXT UK who didn't come to NXT. So I don't really understand what they're doing with him, because it doesn't, if there was like a hidden reason that we could kind of try and figure out, then I guess it would make it a little bit more acceptable, where you could be like, oh, okay, no, this is the bigger picture. This is their plan. This is probably what they're doing. But there's nothing that we can even just pretend is what they're doing. It's like we've said, they don't even let him talk. It's not that they like have him lose the matches and that he doesn't win matches himself. It's like they don't even let him talk. They don't let him win matches. They like make him take the pin. I don't understand it at all.
I don't understand.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So we did see Nakamura promo.
This was awesome.
And we did see Richard said,
there it is. Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah.
Shinsuke had the best promo of his career yesterday. This is what I'm saying, okay? When I say you need to let people talk, here we go. This is the problem that I had though with Vince. Vince is what seemed very against letting any international wrestlers speak on the mic, particularly the Japanese wrestlers, who obviously English is not their first language and they don't speak it perfectly. I don't blame them. I couldn't be a full-grown adult and go learn Japanese and then speak Japanese perfectly. But he like never let Asuka talk. He never let Nakamura talk. Let's not even talk about Tajiri, okay? But I'm just like, if we're going back, he never like
dude pulled Tori Wilson. He didn't need to talk.
Yeah, well, true. But this is the reason why Nakamura should have been talking, because he's so good, and as a heel is so good. So, and of course there's the people who will translate things for you, which is amazing. But the big takeaway from Nakamura, and you can talk about the whole thing in a second, was that he revealed what he whispered to Seth, which was like the highlight everywhere. And although we talked about this how many weeks ago, but we're going with it now, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Very much playing into the reality fiction line, which is nice. So he said he let Seth know that he knows about your biggest weakness. Okay, you try to act like you have it all, but I know about your back, and that you've been dealing with an injured back and living in pain for years. And that is why Seth was like, oh man. And I want to be like, Seth, you let the entire world know when you were on Logan Paul's podcast. Like,
dude, he's got a pretty big following.
And that's why it was like, oh, I don't really like to talk about my my personal life and my injuries, but yeah, I do. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You literally said it on Logan Paul's podcast. This is not like Shinsuke did some digging on you and like broke HIPAA laws or something with your doctors and somehow got your medical records. But what do you think about Nakamura's promo? Do you like? We'll get into what Rollins says in a second. But
I loved it, and for someone who clearly doesn't speak Japanese, for that man to have my attention, the way he was speaking, his cadence, everything, that is a fantastic heel. That is someone finally getting the opportunity to reach their full potential with a character. And so for Shinsuke, for a while, he didn't get that treatment. And okay, I really think this segment was a telltale sign that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be world champion. He's going to he is so good as a heel. The way he speaks and captivates you, his move, like I could see this being the match that Seth loses, and we could see a pretty decent reign with Nakamura.
I think that it's possible, especially with what Seth said, but I don't know that it'll happen at Payback, because I feel like we haven't seen enough of Nakamura over the last couple weeks. He wasn't even there yesterday. I feel like we need to see him more on Raw, which I guess they have 2 more Raws, so it's possible. But I just don't know that it'll go at Payback. It might come after that. But I feel like Seth kind of did hint at it a little bit because he was asked about Nakamura by Jackie, and he said what Shin said last week caught him off guard because he doesn't like to talk about his injury. As I said, he did reveal that he has 2 fractures in his lumbar spine and that he has been living with it for 4 years. So he says, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I thought maybe if I didn't do anything, maybe it would get better, but it's actually gotten worse. And I don't know how much longer I can continue to perform the way that I am right now because I live in pain, and kind of alludes to he needs surgery at some point, probably, because it's not going to get better. He says, but that's part of the business. And Shinsuke's taking advantage of that with his cheap shots and his mind games. So, it is what it is. That's part of what we do, but he needs to leave my family out of it. And he says that he will give Shinsuke another chance next week to talk to him man to man, face to face, and prove that he basically is a rightful opponent for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I was like, yes, see, this is exactly what we need. We need more face-to-face. I don't know that we necessarily need Shinsuke to be speaking English. I love the Japanese. I don't care either because, again, I don't care if I don't know what you're saying. The way you say it is entertaining. Sounds like you're saying something not very nice. And like I said last week, it makes you so much more of an asshole to not even speak in the language of the country that you're in, or of the person that you're talking to. So I don't care. Like, some people complain about it. I don't care. It's amazing. I don't need to know what you're saying. It's more fun. Well, it's more fun like when it was Io and Asuka were going at each other in Japanese. And people were like, what were they saying? And it was like, that was more fun because it was like they weren't speaking to us,
Oh, yeah. They did not give a fuck about the audience. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm here for this. I'm not, super in love with the idea of Finn being out of the title picture, but I like Nakamura, so I can be okay with it at some point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Well, let's move on then. Then we have Candice LeRae versus Rhea Ripley, and I just want to say she deserves a little bit better. Okay. This was a squash match, which I don't know that we really needed it to be a squash match. It was a squash match before it happened because there's no way that the little teeny tiny Candice LeRae had any chance against the Amazon woman that is Rhea Ripley. Okay.
Yeah. And this sucks because Candice LeRae was such an unbelievable wrestler in the Indies. I mean, there's clips online of her defeating the Young Bucks in some like legendary PWG match, and it was like a hardcore match. I mean, she stuffed thumbtacks down one of the Jackson's pants and then suplexed.
Oh my gosh!
She's hardcore. She can go with the boys. And to have her be squashed by Rhea Ripley, I get what you're doing. I'll talk about it, but not right now. Candice LeRae deserves to be in a feud that has nothing to do with a title picture and that just gets the fans to get behind her and root for her, because we need more women like that on Raw. There's not a lot of them.
Well, and it's kind of one of those things where I just always think about how her and Johnny left before they came up to the main roster because they knew that they weren't going to be used well. And then they were rehired, one of the first rehires, because Triple H took over. And then I'm like, okay, and then look what he's done. He's not really done anything better with them than Vince would. So that's why I'm like, we need to figure this out because Johnny is apparently cleared and you have him sitting at home. I'm very confused. So, yeah. But from this match, we see that we're finally going to get Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez, which we've been talking about for a very long time. Raquel, I knew immediately that when Raquel came out with the one crutch, I was like, this girl, she acting. She be acting for an Oscar.
I loved it.
An Oscar right now.
I was like, throw it. I was like, just throw it in the crowd.
I was like, this girl is not going to be an idiot again by coming out here injured. I was like, this, but Rhea pretends like, oh my God, ha 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 ha. She's out here injured being a dumb idiot. And then Raquel's like, LOL, just kidding. And she starts beating up Rhea. And then she gets on the mic and confirms that, hey, by the way, I am cleared. And I already had our match set up for the World Women's Championship at Payback. So I am really excited that we're going to finally see this because Rhea needs it.
Rhea needs a good pay-per-view match. Needs a match against
Yeah.
someone who could legitimately take her down, become
Yep.
champ,
Yep.
and there is bad blood already with these two, not only from what we've seen the past few weeks on Raw, but in NXT.
Mhm.
So there's more substance there, and you know this is gonna be a hard-hitting match. It's not gonna be like a Rhea Ripley's Lena Vega at
Yeah.
Backlash, where it's
Mhm.
more wrestling and
Mhm.
sports entertainment. This is gonna be a brutal, essentially fight, which Rhea needs that type of feud, which kind of alludes to a question Richard asked that I saw this and it was already on my mind when I watched it. Hey guys, do you think that there's a reason why Rhea only wrestles a few minutes on Raw, lazy booking, or are they being cautious because she's injury prone? I think it's option 3 in that they're trying to build her up into the super mommy and that, immortal women's champion. So to have, people like Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Natalia, I must say Natalia going up against her, of course she's going to breeze through them like it's a tutorial mode,
Yeah.
because that they're not on Rhea Ripley's level right now. Raquel Rodriguez is on that level and deserves to be in a title match. So.
No, and I agree. I was going to say that if you chose one of the options that Richard said, I was going to say I feel like it's more about trying to make her look like a strong champion, a dominant champion, because right now she can't go against Becky. She can't go against Zoe. She has already taken out Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalia, Indy, Candice. Like she's not going to go after any of the women in the tag division. So we already talked about how the Raw women's roster is slim pickings at this point. When they did the draft, it was not drafted equally from Raw and SmackDown. So this is just what Rhea has to deal with. And so I think that, this could be a good match, a good feud. As long as they say stop the, injuries, fake injuries, whatever. But I think this will kind of get people more on board with Rhea again, because some of them are like, oh my gosh, she doesn't ever do anything. And I'm like, yeah, because it was her decision. Like, it's not like she's like, I'm not working tonight.
Yeah, peace out. I don't need to work tonight. I'm just going to hang with the Judgment Day and my dom.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, then we get The Miz comes out and cuts a little promo. He rags on LA Knight for losing his match on SmackDown and says there is no excuse to lose a match no matter what happens in the match. I was in a WrestleMania match and The Rock interfered and I still won. And it's like, all right, whatever, Miz. And
whatever, Miz.
And he says basically that he's going to be having a tough opponent, a tough match tonight. And out comes Akira Tozawa.
Who did you think it was going to be?
Tozawa.
I knew it was going to be someone like him, but I forgot that he was like there.
I only thought of him because they just used him like not that many weeks ago. So I was like, they're going to do it again because
that's right.
Yeah, they used him for Dominic. So, and he then proceeds to interview Tozawa once he gets in the ring, and he immediately just gets pissed off because every question or every single thing that Miz says, Tozawa just keeps going, yeah, sitting in his head with LA Knight when
so
LA Knight
awesome.
wasn't even there.
It was so awesome. That was this feud right now is so good. I don't know. I so many thoughts, but the Tozawa coming in and just being they need to utilize him more for that role.
He's so funny.
Oh, he's hilarious.
So they then have their match, and while it's happening, we get LA Knight comes out to sit at the commentary desk, and he comes out with some tissues. Make sure to leave them over by the ramp in case the Miz needs
that
them.
Was how fucking funny was that when he just said, "Oh, there's something to cry into."
Yeah, here you go. So Tozawa ends up winning with a roll-up pin, and Miz can't believe it, and so Knight comes in, hits him with the BFT, and then make sure to give him the tissue so that he can cry about it. And I was like, see, this is exactly what we need. This is what we need. I love LA Knight on Raw. I love this feud. I am into it.
I love the commentary. Like having him on commentary was awesome. It was just to hear him talk about and have him talk about the comparisons and whatnot, and then go back in character and squashing them down essentially, and pretty much have Miz and LA Knight both say things out loud that people are already saying online, and to incorporate that into their feud. It's just they're two pros. They're two pros so good that I want to see a lot more of this feud.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just want to hear their match announcement for Payback,
Oh yeah.
So then we got Becky Lynch. She comes out. Trish Stratus comes out with Zoe. I don't even want to talk about what they said because, girl, okay, I love Becky. I love Trish. But there really was no point to this other than just having them on Raw. That was basically the only thing. But other than that, everything that they were saying, they have been saying for months. There was nothing new about it. It's the same talking points that they've both been saying. And so I was like, this was just so unnecessary. The only thing that you get out of it is that Becky is taking on Zoe in a Falls Count Anywhere match next week, which I'm looking forward to. But
yeah,
other than that,
no, I like the back and forth that she had because it was very heel Trish.
in the crowd.
And the crowd was good, but other than them getting into the ring, and once they started having a back and forth, I could care less. I could have cared less.
Yeah, this didn't add anything, and I think that's the problem, is that because they scrapped it from SummerSlam, then they're like, oh shit, now we have like 5 weeks to fill of this again, and they just don't. There's just no more substance that they can add to this feud because we assume that the end is going to be the cage match. So there's not a whole lot that they can do between now and then to make it more interesting. I think that we're just getting to the point where it's like, all right, the horse is dead. Okay? It's dead.
It's dead.
Yeah, we need to move on. Dead. Yeah, that poor horse.
It's that poor horse.
Yeah. So then we do get another little women's match, I guess. We see Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, the new women's tag team champions, versus the After Party, which that's just, I know that's not their real name, but that's what we're going to call them.
How good is that name, though?
It's a good name. That's why
I know it's their finishing move name. That's where I got it from. But, like,
I know.
I still think they're really good. I don't know. Whatever.
I agree. This was a quick squash match, which, it is what it is, because it was basically just to showcase how dominant Piper is and remind everybody who she is and what she can do and the type of wrestling gal that she is. So I was fine with it because I do think that they needed to have that type of match. And also it makes Chelsea not question the forcefulness that Piper took to make sure that she was her tag team partner. Yeah. I'm already liking their dynamic.
Oh, it's a hilarious dynamic.
It says a lot about Chelsea. She can just like adapt and make it good, There
was one when they cut back from commercial and Chelsea was saying something and Piper just like said, like turned her like that. It was like, I know, or what, and she's like, everything I know. Great. Like she kept talking in the back like a little kid. Like, oh, it was just the little details like that are why Chelsea is one of the best signings as of late. Just if anyone can save the women's tag division, is Chelsea Green.
She, what's funny is she was actually my favorite on Tough Enough. So once she got eliminated, I was really bummed about it. I mean, I was fine that Sara won because I liked Sara. But obviously her career was cut short because she kept getting pregnant. So I'm glad that Chelsea has finally gotten her time in the sun because she's so funny and she's so good. So I was happy to see that. So then we finally get to the main event, which was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day, which we see the 3 members of Judgment Day come out, sans Finn. And then Rhea comes running out with Finn and he's like, hold hands. It's like, just looks like,
hold hands.
That's what it looked like. And so then they're just like, yeah, we're cool. It's just funny because it's like, oh, Finn wasn't going to be in the match, but he just happens to be in his gear, in his entrance jacket. Like, all right. So they start brawling before the before the bell even rings. And then we see JD McDonough come out of nowhere, which I was like, hey. And he throws he throws the Money in the Bank briefcase into the ring, hoping for Finn to catch it. But KO intercepts it and then hits Finn in the head, which then gets KO and Sammy disqualified. And Priest is absolutely livid, which is kind of funny. Because
I'm going to tear your head off.
Yeah, it's like...
that was awesome.
It's like, I understand what he was saying, but at the same time, I was like, bro, you just won. Like... It might not have been how you wanted to win, but he kind of helped you win. Maybe that was the point.
That's why I loved it, because I was like, wait, they won.
I know. It was like a mind trick thing.
Brilliant.
JD is like, you can't get mad because you technically won. But then because of how that match went down, it was like, no, that's not how this match is going to go. So then we obviously get Mr. Cody Rhodes to come out and be
best friends.
Yeah, so we get KO, Sammy, and Cody Rhodes versus the 3 members of the Judgment Day. So unfortunately, Dominic could not get out of this one. And, I don't have a whole lot to say about this match because I think we've seen it now like 3 weeks in a row, some variation of it as the main event for the last 3 weeks. It was a good match. Same old BS. Cody does his thing. He is John Cena. Yeah, the Judgment Day lose. It is what it is. That's what this was. I have nothing else to say.
I really have nothing else of substance to add other than I am excited once again for the inevitable Judgment Day, including Rhea Ripley versus the formerly new best friends of Cody Rhodes, Sammy, and KO, and then add in Raquel Rodriguez for your go home show main event heading into Payback. I'm just ready for that, because that's going to be real Attitude Era type booking with, the finish, with so many people coming down, everyone's brawling, and then, someone gets a pin and ends it and the crowd goes crazy. It's not that it's predictable, but we haven't seen that type of crazy finish in a long time, at least to me, because it gives the pay-per-view that much more importance.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see that happen. Other than that, this match is, your very standard Raw main event for right now. Which
I know. I want to see something else.
I have a question for you. Who is the leader of Judgment Day?
Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
Come on now.
No, I know that, but like
Dominic Mysterio.
Well, because Finn and Damian, I would say Finn was introduced to be the leader, but Damian is that's the alpha of the group. Like he is.
That is really
alpha.
rude. That's really rude.
It's not. That's
really rude.
I'm sorry, but facts are rude sometimes. The truth hurts.
Wow. Okay. I also saw, I don't know if they had a specific day, but it said that the Judgment Day have had one member at least in every main event on Raw since June.
That's insane.
See, good things happen when you let good factions be on your TV and when you feature them and you let heels be heels and you let Finn go back to his glory days. I mean, come on now. He helped form the Bullet Club. You guys just want to pretend that never happened and you want him to be the like smiley face guy that's like, yeah, like that's not Finn.
I'm the demon.
Yeah, I love this. Like, no. Yeah, I mean that entrance is epic. I'm not gonna lie, but like, come on now, like, hail Finn Balor is like it feeds my soul. So, but anyway, that was Raw.
That was Raw. See, that's what I would say it was a nice B-. Did the job.
Yeah,
like
it was. They had their moments, but yeah, I feel like the main parts of the show, like the main event, the beginning of the show, just not like excited by it right now. So, because again, we're floating in the abyss. Like, what's going on with Cody? Who's Cody gonna feud with? The New Day are supposed to be the number one contenders, but you haven't even seen them interact with the tag team champions. And then Kevin looked like he got hurt again last night, or that he was in pain at the end of that match. him and Cody and Sammy, you could tell were both checking on him. He was kind of
Mhm.
trying to brush him away, but no, he was in pain. So it's like I don't really know what's going on. Maybe it is going to be 3-on-3, but again, like I don't know what that doesn't really do anything. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I heard this question from Richard. Does
Oh
Raw
yeah.
yesterday tell you that Cody might not have a feud going into Payback? I don't mind him missing PLE. I don't mind him missing this one. All I could see would be another match with Dom if they wanted to, but if he misses Payback, I'm not.
I don't know.
opposed.
I mean, if he misses it, I'm fine with it, but I also wouldn't be. Yeah, no, I guess because if they're gonna have the tag team titles on Payback, but we don't know that though. We don't know. They're just the number one contenders. It could be a match that happens on Raw. I mean, there's no friction between the New Day and KO and Sammy, so it's not like they have to be at Payback.
No, they don't.
And there's no payback for them to have. So it's possible that we do see this main event from Raw again at Payback, but
Minus Cody though. I could see
no,
Cody being in their corner.
maybe, but I don't care. But yeah, if Cody misses that, I think this is fine because I don't like it when they try to force people into feuds that don't feel genuine or don't feel like it makes sense just because they're trying to include someone in a storyline. I'd rather Cody's next feud mean something the way that Brock's did. I would rather that happen than, it was fine that he had that random thing with Dominic, but it was a one-off. It was like, okay, that's it. But I think that he should have a solid opponent, rivalry, whatever, post Brock. So if he misses Payback, sure. But we'll see.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens next. And we thank you guys for tuning into this edition of the Raw Rewind, part of Pitts and Sarah's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And if you do not have the hour and 7 minutes and 9 seconds to dissect the entirety of Raw with us, well, we got clips in the archives. All you got to do is subscribe and hit that bell notification to Sarah's YouTube channel. What?
We're so close to
How
becoming
close?
we're 215 hours away.
Oh, come on. If 215 of you watch 1 hour,
I
we're
know.
there.
I know.
That's a small sample size, honestly.
Yes.
I think we can do it. And then we get super chats. We can put out more content for you. And then
exclusive content.
Exclusive content for you guys. And then it's one step closer for this being our paid gig. How awesome would that be if we could just do this? Or I could just talk about this. Maybe we even do our own little promotion as well. We do our own little wrestling promotion. That'd be cool too. And that's why you guys stick with us. Follow Sarah's YouTube channel and then all the other social media pages that we have, profiles, whatever. Sorry, it's been a long day. Social media accounts that you can follow, all in the link in the description below. And then we'll be back on Thursday for a new episode where we talk about that you got to tune in to find out. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. And remember that you can do it. All you can do is try. We will see you on Thursday. Yeah.